Ethan Hawke is having one hell of a year. Starting off with Moon Knight entering his villain era and now hitting us with the Black Phone? This man is cashing in those checks and it is well deserved. The Black Phone is instantly in my top 10 movies of the year. So here is my non-spoiler review for the film. Stay tuned because I'm gonna be giving you the full rating for the movie at the ending of the video. The premise is pretty simple. This is a 1978 rendition of Denver. We're covering the story of a 13-year-old named Finney Shaw and his family. Typical shy kid, doesn't fit in at school, but he's actually really good at sports, which actually ties into the narrative of the movie, but I'm not gonna spoil how. Pero papi, this isn't sunshine and rainbows, and we all know what we came to see. There is a serial unaliver on the loose. Ethan Hawke is playing the role of the Grabber, a man who is kidnapping people and putting them in a soundproof basement to play psychological war games with them and then dispose of them. And you may be asking, where the hell does the Black Phone come into the story? Well, let me tell you, but before we get into that, make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel with the notification bells on because I'm posting more reviews like this moving forward. What was I saying? Yes, the phone. Well, there's a broken rotary phone in the wall. Even though this bad boy is disconnected, it still starts to ring, and our boy Finney is able to communicate to the previous victims of the Grabber. Fear, excitement, suspense. So was it any good? Yes, I'll tell you how. Three main things stuck out to me while watching this banger, and number one is the acting. The cast for this film is actually pretty small, but we actually get solid performances all across the board. Mason Thames does a solid job as Finney. There's a couple of moments where you're sitting there thinking, wow, I would not survive, but Finney, he's got this in the bag. Cunning, witty, but then you get to the other end of the spectrum where the fear in his eyes is palpable. You truly get to appreciate his range. The other standout performance, at least for me, was Madeline McGraw playing Gwen, aka Finney's sister. She was kind of the one giving me the Stranger Things vibes. Spunky, unapologetic, o sea mi pana, she's the one that's dealing with her brother's bullies at school, but she's also layered with a complex backstory that dates back to her mother and her abusive father. Thankfully, this brother-sister combo is what fuels the story moving forward, and it is not done in a campy way. Even though they are siblings, they don't necessarily depend on each other for everything. It's a relationship that complements each other, and they actually build on each other in order to survive. From the jump, you can tell that this film was heavily inspired by Stephen King's brand of storytelling, in that certain supernatural aspects, which in this case are not explained fully, which is part of what makes the movie so great, and those supernatural elements are what move the plot forward. Now that I think about it, it actually makes sense because this film was inspired by the book of the same name written by Stephen's son, Joe Hill. Nevertheless, combining a snarky teenager with a complex backstory, an abusive household, and obviously supernatural elements, and you have a recipe for great success. Now, we started this video addressing Ethan Hawke and his amazing performance, and Dios mío, he deserves his own section in this video. Because the second thing that made this movie amazing was the villain. Moving on from one supernatural villain in Moon Knight to the other, Ethan Hawke is playing the role of the Grabber. In this case, mi hermano, there is no self-righteousness, it is just panache savagery. Just like any good magician, this serial unaliver never reveals his tricks, even to his victim. Perhaps the most effective technique that this movie employs in order to set up the menacing nature of the villain is the fact that he never reveals his true face. As we saw in all of the trailers, the Grabber is using a Shogun-inspired demon mask in all of his encounters. And this ceramic-plated mask has detachable parts. Throughout the course of the movie, we get different combinations of the ceramic plating that never fully reveal the unaliver's face. This elevates the psychological mind games to a whole new level. At some points, he doesn't even seem human when he's wearing it. The other cool thing that Ethan Hawke employs in this performance is using subtle voice changes in order to truly emphasize the emotions that the Grabber is feeling at the moment. It brings a bone-chilling quality to the entire performance. As you can probably tell by now, the biggest strength that this movie has is keeping the tension alive through the entire runtime. And it's only a 1 hour and 47-minute movie, so it's not even that long. This man gets your heart pumping and he leaves it pumping the entire way through, and you never know, is he actually trying to connect with Finney and feeling remorseful, or is he just planning his next move? You're always teetering on an endless balance of stress, and it is haunting. My favorite moment in the entire movie is one of the interactions between Finney and the Grabber where you can clearly see Ethan Hawke's eyes. While his body reflects a sense of calm and trustworthiness, his entire demeanor is the exact opposite. His voice immediately changes and gave me the heebie-jeebies from now until Kingdom Come. Menace to the entire society. And finally, number three is the fact that the story always goes straight to the point. Too often, we get greeted with horror movies that get too convoluted and have an amazing premise, but they land the execution horribly. They either miss when they're setting up the finale, they never explain the situation too well, or they explain too much, and the mystery is gone. And worst possible case, they have a bloated set of characters that don't compose anything in the overall story arc. The Black Phone, on the other hand, does an amazing job at going against that legacy. Literally a very simple story with a small set of characters with a believable backstory and something of a situation that you can imagine could happen in real life. And yet it manages to surprise in just the right places. If you're looking for a jump scare riddled fear fest, this is not the movie for you. This right here is more of a slow burn psychological horror, and that is my jam. With that being said, you have waited enough. Let's go to the final rating. Before we go, I just wanted to let you know that I'm gonna be making a lot more videos like this, especially covering my journey through One Piece. We're also continuing to get the stream train rolling on my main channel and popping all of the best highlights, reviews, and clips related to gaming streaming on my gaming channel, Tropical Joe Gaming. Did I say gaming 3 times in a row? I did. Well, if you want to see the streams in their full length, they're not going to be living in this main channel anymore. They're going to be in Tropical Joe VODs. We are diversifying, papi. Finally, this is an exclusive big announcement. I'm also going to be making a page just like this in Spanish for my Hispanic audience. So make sure that you subscribe with the notification bells on, because I'm going to be giving you updates on when that is live very, very soon. You survived the promos. We are almost at the end. And ladies and gentlemen, your reward is that we finally get to the rating of the film. I am going to give this one a solid 8.7 out of 10. Is it revolutionary? No. Is it the best horror movie ever made? No. But it delivered a solid experience that had me hooked the entire way through and had a solid gimmick that didn't necessarily lend itself to be super campy. On top of that, I am proud to announce that this specific movie is going to be the first recipient of the Island Squad seal of approval when it comes to rewatchability. I would watch it again. It was a saucy time. But then again, that is all it from me. As always, mi familia, make sure to crack a smile, just ride the wave, and I'll see you on the next one.